Welcome back to another edition of the Walker Valley Football Coaches Show, sponsored all season long by Wholesale Supply Group. They're open to the public. Once again, I'm Andy Morris along with Jacob Mason and your Walker Valley head football coach, Drew Akins. Coach Akins, big region win last week against East Hamilton, getting one back from last year as we've talked about, kind of circling those games on the schedule. But again, it's a region win, which is ultimately the most important thing.
Yeah, big time win. I was really happy with our performance. You know, we talked a little after the game about being disappointed with the energy and effort that we played with defensively, but still being, 17 points given up. It's pretty impressive what our defense is doing right now, their ability. You know, I think they took one of the best players in our region and held him to under 50 yards rushing for the night. He was averaging upwards to 160 per game. So really excited for our defense and the way they're playing. They're giving us a chance in every single game. They're giving us the opportunity to be successful, giving us a chance offensively to kind of find our feet. So it's been a great run by our defense and giving us chances to go make plays throughout the game. And it was nice having Dosen back. You know, having Dosen back was critical just for our confidence. You know, I think you saw our offensive confidence be a little bit higher. Obviously, throughout the game, we had some explosive plays. You know, I think we had 9 explosive plays throughout the night, which is a big indicator for us offensively, whether we're successful or not. So a lot of things went really well on Friday night, and ultimately it's a big-time region victory, and it sets us up, as of right now, sets us up to be able to play for the region championship the last game of the year against McMinn. So great challenge in that coming up, but excited for that challenge.
Yeah, absolutely, Coach. You talked about the defense. You know, one thing that we talked about on Friday night is how they kind of surprised you guys coming out in the empty set. For a defense that prepared for something all week, and then the first play of the night, they go into empty. I do feel like they made some good adjustments throughout the game.
Yeah, listen, Coach Nance is what I think one of the best in our region when it comes to scheming offense. He does a great job with motion. You saw that throughout the night. They'd shift to empty and then then sprint motion into the boundary, and it just got us out of leverage several times. They did a great job with that throughout the game, and luckily we were able to make some adjustments after halftime. You saw some of those things get taken away because of that. But ultimately, it's a really good coaching staff. He does a great job. It was really difficult throughout the first half. They held on the ball. That drive in the second quarter, man, they had the ball for what felt like the whole. I remember turning around at one point, with the TV timeouts, it already lengthens the game a little bit. I remember turning around after I called timeout on that drive where I was like, hey, let's get adjusted because they're inside the red zone. Let's try to get a stop here. I called a timeout, and I remember turning on the headset saying, man, I feel like we've been off the field for 20, 25 minutes of real time, which in a normal game, that doesn't happen very often. So, but then we got the ball back and were able to drive down and score right before halftime, then came right back out and scored right after halftime, which kind of gave us a 2-for-1 and gave us some breathing room there. But ultimately, we did a great job adjusting defensively. And when you hold a team under 17 points, typically we find a way to win that game. Obviously, it's not 100% of the time, but we've had a lot of success when we hold teams under that. So, again, really proud of our defense and their ability to make adjustments throughout the game. It definitely was a curveball getting empty to start. When you watch them on film, they showed empty a few times, and all they ever did out of it was quarterback run. So when they went into empty and still ran their buck sweeps, which is what they're kind of known for, it definitely threw us for a loop. But, we were able to adjust throughout the game and made enough plays to go win.
Without letting us, too far behind the curtain, planning for a guy that has 1,200 yards on the season, 21 touchdowns, you said averaged over 160 yards a game. It seemed like you guys were committed to having about 6 guys in the box. Yeah. Did that stay the same throughout most of the night?
Yeah, Coach Henderson really makes it a point to make sure that we have enough hats in the box against run, no matter what they have at receiver. So that's definitely an emphasis in our offense or in our defense. You see that throughout games. When they're in 20 personnel, which is the H-back and the 5 offensive linemen and the running back, 2 back personnel. A lot of times we have 7 guys in the box. So we always try to have one more guy than they have to make sure that we're able to stop run. And then we try to adjust our coverage off how many hats we have in the box. So we've done a good job of that all year, forcing teams to beat us through the pass. And our defense has given up, just a little bit more now than 160 yards per game, which is a really good average. Yeah. But a lot of that, has been because we've been able to stop the run so efficiently. So doing a really good job defensively, scheming, making sure that we have enough hats to stop run, and forcing teams to throw the football to beat us. And most teams right now just haven't been able to have that. Now, we got a quarterback in a couple weeks that's playing much better that we're going to have to make sure that we're ready for. And even Pure Academy does some things in the box that we're going to have to add more hats to the box, and we've got to make sure that we're ready secondary-wise to defend one-on-one routes. So always looking at different schemes, the different ways to line up. And Coach Henderson's done an outstanding job for us throughout the season.
So, Coach, as we put a bow on the East Hamilton victory, once again, final score 28-17, Walker Valley Mustangs, putting you in prime position to go win back-to-back region championships as we look a couple weeks down the road to McMinn. But to look at some individuals from that game, first I do want to say, Jacob, I was listening from the beach. Obviously, unfortunately wasn't able to be there, but Jacob and Matt Paris did a great job on Sports 99.1, so enjoyed listening to you guys. But Javen Hall, another big game, 133 yards on the ground. Roman Yulo, 108 yards on the ground for 2 touchdowns as well. We talked about him getting those red zone touches. And then also the team-wise, 231 rush yards total, 114 pass yards for Dawson Stum, 7 of 11, 2 touchdowns to Yulo, and Hudson McCooch, who had 135 all-purpose yards as well. So huge offensive output from those guys, kind of the normal names we've started to see a little bit. And then to hit off what Jacob said, defensively, Tyler Goldman led the team with tackles.
Yeah, throughout the whole season, we've had the same guys kind of show up throughout the game. I'm really excited about Hudson and the progress he's made. He was so injured at the beginning of the year with a shoulder injury and then a knee injury, missed all of Bradley. Play 2 went down with a knee injury at Bradley. It's been really nice to get him back in the fold offensively. 2 touchdowns in 2 games now, and really put him back in a position where he's comfortable, where I'm comfortable really getting him the ball. We talked about it before Howard. Hey, we're going to get you back where you've been where you were all year last year, where you had 10 touchdowns last year. Averaged a touchdown a game at the position he was at last year. So I'm very comfortable getting him the ball with that position, with him being the outside receiver. So finding different ways to get him the ball has been critical for us, and he's shown up the last 2 weeks with a touchdown each week. We look kind of silly for trying to move him to different spots, and really tried to force the old square peg in a round hole type thing. Got him back to where he's comfortable, got him back to where I'm comfortable, finding ways to get him the ball, and it's really shown up. So obviously Roman has had big games over and over again. Goldman has really stepped up throughout the year. Javen's had an awesome year. He's on pace for 1,000 yards rushing, which is a big-time accomplishment. What I was really proud of when we talk about individual stuff, I thought our special teams the other night was as good as it's been all year. We've really put an emphasis on that. So being able to see that emphasis show up over the last few weeks has been really critical for us. Spencer McCooch had 2 long returns, 178-yard return that broke a school record, longest return in school history on a punt return. Broke Brody Swafford's record in that this past week. So it's been it was really good to see us have so much success. Noah did a great job. We got the rugby punt in, which we've been practicing for 3 or 4 weeks, and actually worked that in game for the first time, which gives teams something else to think about. Dylan's still going to be punting as well, but now we have different options there to be able to put different guys back there, and it slows the rush down because they don't know exactly what we're going to go with. So it's been really good to see some of the work we put in special teams-wise start showing up.
Coach, you've been putting the work in on the field, but also made a note here, you've been putting the work in the classroom as well. Team GPA, after the first 9 weeks of school, 3.5. That's very impressive.
Yeah, it's been a kind of a goal for us that for the last, really since I've been here. Early on in our tenure here, it's 3.3, 3.4. We can never break through that 3.5, it was kind of a ceiling for us. And we kind of changed some of the ways that we do academics and how we do tutoring and this and that. When you look at some of the successes we've had in the classroom because of that, I owe a lot to our teachers. They bought into. Not everybody does academics the way we do academics, and it took a little bit to kind of get everybody on board with it. But our teachers have bought in, and they understand, hey, we're here to help you in the classroom.
A big-time team effort.
Absolutely. I mean, it takes everybody here because we got tutoring after school. Every week we have mandatory tutoring after school for our varsity guys. We have mandatory tutoring during CCR time, advisory time. So, we try to build this in, but it takes teachers buying into that too. And the fact that we're at a 3.5, which is a very difficult threshold to hit, with 100+ kids on the team, you're taking a lot of kids into account. So for us to hit that goal as a team means a lot. It means that a lot of people have bought into the way we do things, our coaching staff, but mainly our teachers and their willingness to go out of their way and use extra time to give that to our students and our student athletes. So really appreciative for that. Our teachers do such a great job, and they show up on Friday nights. They've cheered. I've seen them in the bleachers, and to see their support of our players, not only on the football field when we're playing, but also in the classroom means a lot to me.
Yeah, Coach, obviously moving on to this week, Pure Academy, a different week presents different obstacles. Kind of tell us about Pure Academy and what our listeners and fans can expect.
Yeah, so I was really worried this game wasn't going to happen just because, some things in the offseason, there was some uncertainty. Excited to host them. I know it was something that we weren't sure was going to happen, and we've moved the date on it, which is a little weird, bumping your bye week in the middle of the season, but really excited to be able to host them. Very similar team to last year. They got great size. They got great athleticism. There's not a whole lot of them. I think we're talking, 25 to 28 players, but man, they play hard. And when you watch them on film, they're a 1-6 team, but we've talked all week to our team that this is not your typical 1-6 football team. I think last year goes a lot to show that they're not your typical 1-whatever football team. They came last year and fought our tail off, so we got to make sure that we're ready to play, that we understand, when you look at the teams that they have played, they haven't played a single team with a losing record. The team that they have a win over, I think, is 4-2 or 5-1. So it's a really good team that they've already beaten. And then they've played Blackman, who's having a great season this year. When you look at the teams they played in Tennessee, they're all ranked in the top 10. Haywood's ranked in the top 10. Blackman's ranked in the top 10. Cookville's ranked in the top 10. So they have a MERS row when it comes to a schedule. Horn Lake in Mississippi is one of the best programs in Mississippi. So it's definitely a formidable opponent. They have athletes. Their quarterback is the same kid from last year. Really talented kid when it comes to running the ball. They have a running back, number 6. That's a really special talent that we got to make sure that we corral him and make sure we get him on the ground, make him snap it again, and make sure that we're focused on the things we need to focus on when it comes to turnover margin and special teams like we've been talking about.
Yeah, one thing that you talked about, the effort. One story I remember from last year is watching you on the field go and find multiple players that just absolutely played their heart out for Pure Academy. I know that's definitely not going to be an issue for Pure. They definitely, when you see them on film and when you see them play in person like you did last year, just the effort that they put out is incredible. What's your message been to the team? I know it's easy since you saw them last year and they took us down basically to 2 minutes. But what's been your message this week to keep your eye focused, especially when there's a big opponent?
Yeah, I think the number one thing that we've told our guys is, hey, you saw this team last year. This is not somebody that's your normal team, your normal 1-6. Y'all played against this. You competed against. You saw they take us down. They took us down to the wire last year. So we've got to make sure that we're ready to play this ball game. We've kind of taken it off our guys this week physically because we know we have to be ready for a physical matchup on Friday night. When you see their size up front, they got some really big offensive and defensive linemen that we're going to have to make sure that we're ready and prepared to go be physical with them. And then secondly, we've talked all week about everything that we do over these next 3 weeks, and now almost 2 weeks, everything that we do, whether it's rest, whether it's practice, whether it's a game, it doesn't matter what it is over the next few weeks, everything has to be focused on going and winning a region championship. So you can't take a day off or a game off and say, hey, we'll just flip the switch when we get 2 weeks from now. We've got to start flipping the switch on Monday. And I think our guys have done a really good job of preparing this week. I really like some of the scheme stuff we're doing in our preparation. So it's definitely not taking a lot to get our guys' attention. And the understanding that, we've said it multiple times here, we're competing against the standard. We're not competing against Pure. We're not competing against McMinn. We're competing against the standard of the way we do things around here. And some days we hit it and some days we don't, but we got to be truthful and real about whether we accomplish that. So proud of our guys this week. We've got to make sure that we continue that, tomorrow when we get to this game, but also through the next, bye week and then the week after that with practice for McMinn.
So going into this Pure Academy game, the Mustangs come in ranked in Class 5A, number 8 in the state in the Tennessee Sports Writers Association polls. Not a bad spot to be, but again, as Coach said, focused on that region championship and building towards that. So with that, we're going to take our first commercial break. When we come back, we're going to have what's became pretty popular Coach Akins film breakdown.
Jacob Mason, joined by Coach Akins. And Coach, our favorite part of the segment, getting to break down film with you, learning a lot from a football mind and kind of sharing with the Walker Valley fans what goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's really some of my favorite things that we do here is not necessarily film. I think scheme-wise, it's a lot of the same stuff we always do and that everybody does. But I think some of the behind-the-scenes things that we do is pretty cool. So the first thing we're going to dive into is early. This is early game, first drive of the game. I think we're on play 5 or 6. But what it is, it's our script. So a lot of people don't know that we build a script, a 10-play script. Like we have 10 plays that we're going to run no matter what. And what it is, hey, any down and distance, whether it's 1st and 10, whether it's 3rd and 13, we feel good about these plays early on in the game. And there's a lot of reasons we do that. A lot of times early in the game, you see us do a lot of movement patterns. We do a lot of shifts. We're doing a lot of eye candy across the ball, seeing if we can pull outside defenders. We see a lot of formations. And the reason we do that is because we're trying to figure out how they're going to play against us. So we have a ton of film that we had on East Hamilton. We have a ton of film on everybody we play, but just because they play one team a certain way doesn't mean they're going to play us that way. And defenses are much easier to adapt and change their front than it is for an offense to change. And each offense has their strength. They have their plan A. And I think the goal of a defense is always to take plan A away. Well, sometimes you can do that in your base defense, and sometimes you have to adjust your front to take that away. So we always like to do a ton of different stuff early to try to figure out how they want to play us, and then you'll see us kind of settle in with, okay, this is the game that we're going to play tonight based on what we feel like are our number advantages. Okay, so and this is what you see early. So Roman, another thing we do early is try to find ways to get certain guys the ball. So obviously we're trying to get Roman the ball. We're trying to get Javen the ball. We're trying to get Hudson the ball. We're trying to get Dosen comfortable. A lot of times if you just start out throwing it deep, a quarterback can't get in a rhythm. So trying to get in a rhythm early on is something that we always try to do. And then every now and then we try to script an explosive play in where we're going to take a chance early on in the game. So there's certain things that we script, and this is one of those scripts. So we actually found this formation on Wednesday. So Wednesday is the last work day that we have. And this we've actually found it during practice on Wednesday, went and watched film from 23, and we ran it one time. We ran this formation one time, and we were like, oh, that formation really gives us a lot of advantages when it comes to numbers. So we dove in it early. They lined up how we thought they were going to line up. They actually misaligned, I think, in this first clip. But they lined up how we thought, and you saw us run this formation throughout the game pretty extensively. So it was a good find for us and allowed us to get it. But this is also a play that we found throughout the week, and it's something we haven't ran a whole lot of. We really have been A-gap heavy with our run game, and now we're trying to add in a little more outside run to us. So what this play, we call it, everyone is going to call this buck sweep. So what you're going to get is you're going to get both guards pulling. Both guards are going to pull around. The first guard is responsible for the edge defender. He can kick him towards the sideline, or he can wrap to his outside shoulder based on the demeanor of that defender. The second guard is going to loop around and get the inside backer, and then Tate actually adds in and gets whoever's left in a different color. And what you see is we get a big numbers advantage, especially adding Tate to that. You know, when we talk about our success running the ball this year, you know, we're averaging right at 200 yards a game. But it's because a lot of it's because our offensive line is playing really well these last 3 or 4 games. But really, also Tate has played really well, and I've said it multiple times on this broadcast that we kind of go offensively in the run game as Tate goes. If Tate's playing really well, we typically have a successful night on offense. If Tate's struggling, we typically struggle on offense. Tate's been playing really well as of late, and he adds such a great dimension with being able to catch the ball out of the backfield. You know, he had 3 catches the other night. All 3 of them went for first downs. So he's just such a huge asset to what we do offensively. But what you see on this buck sweep, we get to the edge. You see Lovingood do a great job getting to the backer. Tate inserts and gets the front side backer. We get everybody cleaned up, and we're able to get to the edge. And when Roman gets to the edge, man, it's an explosive play almost every time. So a really cool way to start the game. But what I really want to show you is the drone shot. On the drone shot, you see the numbers, what I'm talking about. So when you talk about these numbers, you know, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, and we call this a half. So we're going to half the nose guard because he's halfway on the left, he's halfway on the right, right? So they got 4.5 guys on the left side, and basic math tells me there's 6.5 guys on the other side, right? Because they have 11 total. So they have 4.5 on one side, 6.5 on the other. Well, math tells me I need to run to the 4.5 side. And that's literally as basic as it gets. So we do a great job here. You know, you get Reese with the reach block. You're going to get Townsend with the reach block. Lassen's going to get out. Lovingood's going to get out. Tate adds to it. And we're able to get to the edge with Roman. It's a really explosive play for us to start the game, you know, and gets us down the sideline. But you see how clean that is. We just have more numbers than they have. So it's all a numbers game, and we were able to find that early, which was really cool. The next play is just a great football play. You know, Spencer's had a great season to this point. He's got 5 interceptions on the year. He had 4 coming in this game, and this was number 5. You know, we got 3rd and 10. They haven't been super efficient this year throwing the ball. I watched the TV copy, and one of their keys to the game was we got to be able to throw the ball efficiently. And I think we did a great job stopping the pass the other night. So right before the end of the first quarter, Spencer undercuts a post route, is able to intercept it, starts us out in the second quarter with the ball. But a big time stop for our defense after giving up, you know, the long drive to start the game. So big time play by Spencer. He has 5 interceptions on the year now. I think the record's 6. So he's going to be ball hawking over the next few weeks to try to get to that record and break it. So great play by him. He sees post all the time. So for him to be able to undercut that is something we work all the time, and he's done a great job of that.
Yeah, and that was a great momentum carrier into that second quarter. Where I believe you go on and score, don't you?
We go down on this one, and no, we get the penalties. So we had a couple penalties early in those first 2. We really, throughout the game, moved the ball really well.
Yeah.
Penalties hurt us in the first half, and we were driving the ball and had a penalty that stopped us. But we were able to get that momentum and get that stop. Sometimes that first stop is just what you need to kind of play a little bit harder defensively. So this is another one. So we go down, we hold them to the field goal that we talked about earlier, and then we come out, and this is kind of a new action. Again, we've been really heavy on A-gap run. So we're going to fake A-gap run on this. Tate's going to stay in and make it really look like A-gap run. which gets the backers flowing. So that's what I want us to pay attention here. I want you to watch these backers and how hard that they're coming to stop run. Well, when you do that, you're leaving open receivers on glance routes that we're able to go make that. So Dosen does a great job with the fake. Roman does a great job with his route, getting to the inside via the neck. Good hard stick to get across the safety's face. He's able to shield off the defender and get a touchdown with 30 seconds left in the half. Again, I want you to see it from the drone shot because this is where it looks really cool. You see how much movement those backers, how much movement we get out of these backers. And now you see the window that we're able to throw in because we got that movement. So what what linebackers are typically doing?
Follow the guards.
They're following the guards. So when they get pull or down block and pull, they're going to fit and fit. Well, we use that, those fits across the ball to open up the window to be able to throw the slant behind it. So again, you see a really good window to throw into, and we're able to score right before halftime. Coming out in the second half, the exact same play action. So we're going to do the same run action, but this time we're going to. So now you see that they play hard inside leverage on Roman. So now they're hard inside leverage, but they're off coverage still out here on Hudson. So now at halftime, literally, we didn't work this play one time throughout the week. But what we saw was, hey, they're going to take away the inside now. So now we're going to send Roman on a vertical to get this guy cleared, and now Hudson's going to run the slant.
Wow, yeah.
And this is a great throw. So same thing. I want you to see it from the drone shot. Watch the backer movement first and foremost. So we're going to go from there. Look how far. We get 4 yards of movement out of the linebackers. That gets them out of the window. So you already see the window where we're going to try to throw it into. Hudson does a great job of getting across the corner's face, but watch the ball placement here. Right off that defender. Great throw by Dosen. Super confident throw. Trust his receivers. Hudson does a great job getting to the window, making a catch that's cloudy. We call that a cloudy catch where he has to run through a defender and just trust the ball is going to be there. Great timing. Doesn't allow the backside safety to get involved. That's about as good as you can do. And then run after catch wise. Hudson does a great job here. Gets into the end zone. Again, that was a 2-for-1. So now, we got to stop and then we got to return. We got to stop, we get a score, and then get the ball right back after halftime and get another score. And that puts us up 21-10, gets us a 2-score lead. This is something I just wanted to show. Again, it's a record-breaking play here. What a great play by Spencer on the punt return. Good punt by this kid. Able to make the first guy miss. That's always the key. And then you get hash number sideline. And anytime you can get hash number sideline, typically you get a cutback. I love the effort that we're showing. AB getting out in front of it. 78-yard return. It's the first, longest return in school history. It sets us up to score, and then we go back to the play you saw early in the game. With the buck sweep. So this time, they have now fixed. Remember last time, how many guys do they have? You remember?
6 to 1/2, 4 to the other.
Yep.
Well, 4.5.
Yep, 6.5 and 4.5. Well, this time you get lined up. Now they have, again, if you look at it, 1, 2, 3, 4. That guy's over the center, so he's a half. So we're going to run to the 4.5 side. This time, instead of blasting Javen across, we're actually going to let Jaden lead. So now we're adding even another hat to the front side of the run. So same idea. You're going to see us go Reese down block, Caleb down block. Jeremiah's going to handle the edge. Laston's now going to reach the inside backer. Tate's going to add. Javen's going to add. And we have a ton of hats going over here to the ball. And you see Roman's able to get a really easy, untouched touchdown there because we have so many hats going to where they don't have enough hats. So, again, it's just simple math. 4.5 is less than 6.5. So we're going to run the ball the 4.5 side. Our guys did a great job executing a play that we haven't done a whole lot. So it's really exciting to add this play in to what we're doing. So, again, I love getting kind of behind the curtain, and you'll see in some of the things that we think about throughout the game, some of the adjustments that we're making throughout the game, and just the way our kids are executing. When you see the way our kids are executing offensively and defensively, it's really proud of our guys and the way they're finding ways to execute our offense. And because of that, you're seeing explosive plays. 9 explosive plays in a game, 6 of them were in the run game. So big-time plays out of our run game, and that's exciting to see. So really cool. Really excited to take some of the stuff into Pure Academy and see kind of what works there. So be watching early on. That 10-play script is going to give you some ideas about what we're trying to do, the different options that we have in that game. And then I think you'll see us kind of settle in on, hey, here's the game we're going to play tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. So I always love breaking down film with you. On a lighter note, you broke out the Navy caps this week. We were joking about on the radio, trying to name the All Navy. We came up with some fans of the radio came up with the Dark Horse or the Midnight Panther to kind of throw it back to the Charleston.
Yeah,
so it may be something we need to vote on or decide. But the All Navy looks fresh.
Yeah,
for sure.
It was really good. We'd never done All Navy before, so our kids wanted to go All Navy. And listen, I'll let our captains choose every week. Send out a poll. Hey, these are the options. I don't care what we do. And our guys chose that, and it looked great. Really cool to be able to give our kids and our community a different look. It's one of those things where we try to wear something different as much as we can, just to give a different vibe every game. So our booster club's done a great job of allowing us to do those things. Our coaching staff worked all fall break getting those helmets changed over. So really cool. I thought it was a great look, and we're excited to keep the blue helmets here for a little while.
For sure. Well, Pure Academy next week. Just give us a time and any information you know. Ocoee night.
Yep. So tomorrow night, Friday night, 7:00. Ocoee night. I think we're going to start at 6:30. Is where we're going to get them lined up. Anybody in a Ocoee uniform, we'll allow them in for free. Parents obviously will pay to get in still, but the student will get in. So really excited to be able to host Ocoee, recognize their programs, recognize their coaches, all the great things that they do. It's you talk about we don't get paid enough. Well, those guys work almost for free, but we're so thankful for them. You never want to break down your hourly as a middle school coach, but they care so much about their kids. It shows every single time. I'm so proud of the direction that they're going, and we want to recognize those things. So building a great relationship between the two schools. Mr. Lindbergh, Dr. Lindbergh is our announcer, so he'll be back Friday and announcing for us. But just excited for that relationship to continue to grow and recognize those programs. And then we play at 7, Pure Academy. It's the second to last home game, and really excited to play that game and then get a week of rest. That's what we need. So really excited for our community and the season that we're having. They've done such a great job. Our students have shown up and been awesome. I think it's the best student section we've had since I've been here. They have been so vocal and so present, and they've just been great. Our band's been awesome. Our cheer's been awesome. It's been so cool to watch our community kind of buy into what we're doing on Friday nights. And I think Coach Turner's, it's become an event. It's not as much of a football game as it is an event. Coach Turner was making jokes about bringing in a Ferris wheel or a tilt-a-whirl, but I'm not sure insurance will allow that. But it really has become a cool atmosphere that we're excited to continue to grow at Walker Valley.
Awesome. Well, we'd love to have you there at 7 o'clock on Friday night. If you can't be there, you can tune in to us on the app or on 99.1 WCLE. So excited to have this day with you, Coach. We'll see you tomorrow. Go Mustangs.